CM 365, all about Carnatic music.
The lives of great saints and Vagyakaras, as well as the instances which led to their initiation into music, really offer us very interesting insights. Sri Shyama Sastri was one among the Trinity who was born in Tiruvarur and lived from 1763 to 1827. In the year 1781, we see that Shyama Sastri's father, actually, he moved on to Tanjavur and settled there. And actually, if you're looking at the background of Shyama Sastri, we see that his ancestors were not musicians, nor was he actually encouraged to study or practice music. And all those parents actually, they knew that he would become great. They could see the spark of brilliance in Shyama Sastri, but they could not really sense the fact that he would become an illustrious composer or would become a brilliant musician in the future. So what happened is that they taught him all languages like Sanskrit, Telugu, etc. And we also know that nature has its own methods of training her chosen ones. In the case of Sri Tyagaraja, we see that Narada came in the guise of a sage and handed over the Svararnava work, to Tyagaraja for him to study the intricacies of music. For Dikshidhar, it was Chidambaranatha Yogi who came down and he actually trained Dikshidhar in the intricacies of music and taught him so many things so that he could become a great musician and composer in future. In the case of Shyama Sastri, we see that there was one Sangeetha Swami who came, a sannyasi who came and initiated him into music. This Sangeetha Swami actually was in Banaras and he started on a pilgrimage down south. And when he came to actually Tanjavur, it was Chaturmasya. Chaturmasya means we all know that the 4 months when sannyasi, wherever he is, he remains stationed there and he doesn't move to another different place. So when he came to Tanjavur, this Chaturmasya started actually, and so he stuck on to that particular place. And one day this Sangeetha Swami actually came for Bhiksha at Shyama Sastri's house. And looking at this Shyama Sastri, he knew that there was great brilliance within him, and he blessed him and said that there was indeed a great future for him. But after this is what actually turned the complete life of Shyama Sastri, I would say, where the Sangeetha Swami took Shyama Sastri under his fold and also started teaching him music. And he taught him all the intricacies of raga, tala and the sukshma of our music was all transmitted to him by Sangeetha Swami actually. And when it was time for this sannyasi to leave, he also advised Shyama Sastri to actually develop or cultivate friendship with Pachimiriam Adiyapayya, the Asthana Vidwan of Tanjavur Samasthanam. We all know of Pachimiriam Adiyapayya as one of the greatest composers in terms of the Viriboni Varnam, Adatala Varnam that he composed in Bhairavi, which is unparalleled in the history of music. So he was indeed a very, very prolific composer. And this Swami told Shyama Sastri to develop friendship with him so that he could gain more knowledge about our music. And then after this, we see that Shyama Sastri became a prolific composer, and his first composition was Natajana Paripalini in the Ragam Saveri. And in this particular composition, that is the very first composition, we are able to understand the genius of Shyama Sastri as a great music composer as well as his proficiency in the language of Sanskrit. Shyama Sastri composed all his compositions in Sanskrit and Telugu, and I think there are about 3 compositions also in Tamil by him. That is really very interesting to see. And every composition of his is classy, absolutely classical in its core structure, I would say. And he handled heavy ragams like Todi, Kalyani, Bhairavi, Kambodi, Yadukula Kambodi, Saveri and so on. And also he composed a few compositions in ragams like Kapi, Manji, Kalgada, Chintamani, etc. This Chintamani, of course, is a creation of Shyama Sastri himself. The Devi Brova Samayamide is a composition in this. And we see that though unlike Tyagaraja or Shyama Dikshidhar, who composed a large volume of compositions, we only have about 60 or 65 compositions of his available to us. But each one of them is a class apart in terms of the musical content as well as the lyrical content. And another aspect is it abounds in rhythmical beauty. For example, a composition like Shankari Shankuru is so structured that it can be sung both in the Rupaka Talam as well as the Tisra Gati in the Adi Talam. And we also know that he is the one who created the concept of Viloma Chapu in compositions. Thus we see that by the initiation of Sangeetha Swami, being his great mentor and initiator into music, Shyama Sastri blossomed into one of the greatest musician and composer.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.